I got to get your feelings on Judas and the Black Messiah.
Judas and the Black Messiah, I thought it was a good movie. It was very well done. I appreciated the fact that they told the story from the perspective of the informant. And the reason I appreciated that from a psychological perspective is sometimes we need to see the humanity amongst our traitors so that we can make sure we never become them. In other words, William O'Neill, that young man who was only a teenager when he infiltrated the Black Panther Party in Illinois for the FBI and the Cook County Sheriff's Department, he didn't know that what he was doing would lead to the assassination of one of our greatest leaders. He did not know that, but a lot of the decisions that he made personally and politically put him in a situation where it was almost too late to turn back. You know, although it's never too late to turn back when it comes to saving a black man or woman's life or anyone's life for that matter. So I did appreciate showing us the human side of the informant, because when most of us talk about traitors and informants, we often refer to them like they're zombies or creatures from another planet. And we thought to recognize that many of us are only one or two bad decisions away from being an informant ourselves. So I really appreciated that part. Now, the one criticism I had about the movie, too, one major criticism, I thought, Sister Ann, that they should have kept the story going a little longer after the death of Fred Hampton. They did not include the aftermath, the investigation into the murder, which really helped expose the lies of the governor, the mayor, the Cook County Sheriff's Department, the Chicago Police Department, even the CIA. So I really think that would have really benefited black people to see how his murder was orchestrated, not just by the local police, but going all the way up to J. Edgar Hoover himself and beyond. Now, they did show some of that, but they didn't show all of that. For example, the police alleged that of the 99 bullets that were fired into Fred Hampton's apartment that day, most of them came from the Panthers. When the truth of the matter is, only one bullet of 99 came from a Panther gun, and it came from ancestor Mark Clark, who fired a shot in reaction to being shot himself. So I really think the cover-up was a big piece of the Fred Hampton assassination that the producers and director did not give us. And the other concern I had, Sister Ann, real quick, was the brother who played Fred Hampton. Excellent actor. I'm a big fan of his, a big supporter of his. I drew some heat from some of our brothers and sisters in the UK a few weeks ago when I said that I'm growing concern at the fact that a lot of our American African movie directors and producers are not using black actors to play American African heroes. Now, to be clear, Sister Ann, I don't have a problem with a brother from Europe or Africa, the Caribbean, Australia, or Canada playing one of our heroes, because they are our heroes. They belong to the African race. So as a Pan-Africanist, I don't object to any member of the family playing us, but I do object if Hollywood is now going to discriminate against American African actors, because if you look at the last 5, 6, 7, or 8 major biopics on black heroes, none of them have been played by American Africans. So I'm growing concerned that there's a move in Hollywood to not allow us to play the very same heroes and sheroes that we gave birth to.
Well, you know, the thing is, it's like Cynthia Erivo. I mean, she's playing Aretha Franklin. She's doing all that.
And be playing her because Aretha Franklin said, Aretha Franklin, from what I understand, Aretha Franklin said that Jennifer Hudson is who she wanted to play her biopic. And Jennifer Hudson is going to play her biopic, Sister Ann. But I don't know why it was the Lifetime Network, I think it was, who decided to create their own separate Aretha Franklin story and Aretha Franklin narrative. If the woman herself said, I only approve of Jennifer Hudson playing me in my biopic, and that's already being taken care of, why was it necessary to go and get Cynthia Erivo? She's my sister, and I love her, but she has made some very disrespectful comments about American Africans, and she's also not, you know, she's engaged in some lifestyles that I really don't support. But the biggest issue is she's made comments that are not supportive of American Africans. So why would you choose her to play one of us, even when the ancestor in question made it clear only Jennifer Hudson should be playing me?
Yeah, that was a thing that got me, and I also got a little bit of criticism as well, because I think that people don't even realize that Cynthia Erivo is a British actress. The thing is, I wonder if they would let a Black American actor or actress, or actress for all of them, play a British character. I don't believe so.
Well, that's where
the
contradiction comes in, because some of our brothers and sisters across the ocean, they take exception to us playing African heroes and sheroes. They take exception to us playing British African heroes and sheroes, but they don't take exception to themselves playing our ancestors. Here's the point that I want to make, because I don't want the conversation to sound tribalistic at all. I am a Pan-Africanist, so I'm for all of us. I have no issue with who plays who if they have the spirit, Sister Ann. See, the problem with Cynthia and the problem with the brother who played Fred, they've made comments that suggest they do not see us as their brothers and sisters. They've made comments that suggest they do not have a Pan-Africanist consciousness. So it's not just a British African playing an American African. It's a British African who is not a Pan-Africanist. It is a British African who sees themselves as different or set apart from us. When they asked the brother who played Fred about the black situation in America involving police genocide, he said he didn't want to talk about it. He said, why do we have to talk about all of this? And then he said, I'm just Daniel, who happens to be black. What do you mean you're just Daniel, who happens to be black? So basically the message was, I'm playing these important black heroes, but I don't have any stake invested in the movement that they died for. So if you don't have any emotional, psychological, political stake in the struggle that they died for, then do not play them. And I want to be clear, Sister Ann, I don't mind if they play any other American African on screen. If they want to play a fictitious story, if they want to be a black dad, a black mom, a black doctor, black dentist, black comedian, I don't care. My criticism, Sister Ann, is exclusively due to when you're playing our heroes and sheroes. Do not play Harriet Tubman. Do not play Fred Hampton. Do not play Aretha Franklin. You can play anybody else you want. Go play Charles Barkley. Go play Shaquille O'Neal. But don't play no heroes and sheroes if you don't feel that you are in solidarity with us when it comes to the black struggle. It's, in other words,
you know, that's all a plan.
Everybody. Yes, ma'am. Yes, it is. And I'm not liking the discrimination. I mean, look at it, Sister Ann. The brother who played 12 Years a Slave, British African. Harriet Tubman, British African. Fred Hampton, British African. Aretha Franklin, British African. Martin Luther King and Selma, British African.
Right.
Listen, Sister Ann, variety is fine. Variety is fine. I wouldn't be concerned if every other actor was an African from another place. That's fine. But you must show the people who gave birth to these ancestors, you must give them a chance to play their own ancestors. And under no condition,
they can't do it. Have you seen The Underground?
I've seen The Underground. They only did 2 seasons. I heard they were bringing it back for a 3rd, but I don't know if that's true or not. Do you know if that's true or not?
No, I hear it, and I watched it, and I think that it's one of the best series on there, because they show slaves as victims, but they show them with some type of fighting spirit, and we know that they had to have them.
Strength and independence, not the passive, happy slave that we're so used to.
Right.
And I appreciate John Legend for doing that, because I do believe John Legend is the executive producer of Underground. Of course, he's not married to a black woman, so there's still some contradictions there that need to be worked out. But just to reiterate, Sister Ann, no African, I don't care if you American African, I don't care if you British African, I don't care if you a continental African, Caribbean African, South American African, no African, including us right here in the States, no African should be allowed to play a hero whose life and political perspective is not in alignment with black consciousness and black liberation. The brother who played King got a white wife. Cynthia Erivo, she's married to a woman, whatever the case may be. But a lot of them...
I think it's a white woman, too,
that's her right.
Yeah.
That's her right.
Yeah.
But Aretha Franklin would not have approved of that. See, my thing is you have to honor the person whose story you're telling. For example, Sister Ann, when I'm dead and gone, 50 years from now, I highly suspect that there will be a movie about DR.UMAR. I really do. Okay? Somebody put a meme out yesterday suggesting that somebody was playing me in a movie. It was a joke. It's not real. But I do think there'll be a movie about me at some point down the road because of my contribution to the black struggle, which is highly unique in these times. I don't want, if you got somebody to play me who had a white wife, you know I will be angry as an ancestor. If you got somebody to play me from another country who does not feel any type of kinship to American Africans or is not a Pan-Africanist, I would have an issue. Now, if you got a British African who's a Pan-Africanist to play DR.UMAR, I have no problem. If you got a continental African to play DR.UMAR who's a Pan-Africanist, I have no problem. It's not where they come from, Sister Ann. It's the type of person they are. It's the type of person they are. So not only are you going outside of the country to get the actor, which is fine, but you're choosing coons, and you're choosing people who do not care about what's happening to black people. And if that's their position, don't let them play our heroes.
So here's the other thing I want. We'll take a call now. Here's another thing I want to just shoot at you. I don't want you to get into details because this is just how important this question is. You know that in every person that we've had that has been considered a leader, and I don't know if you consider yourself one, but you are. So what are you keeping that in the back of your mind in terms of the people that you keep around you?
Absolutely.
Because I know the enemy. I know the enemy is listening. So
absolutely.
Okay.
I was going to say that one of the messages from Judas and the Black Messiah for me, and I already knew it, but as you know, visual images have a profound effect on subconscious thinking and conscious thinking. Very powerful. That's why the media is so influential, because what you see is what the mind will absorb more so than what you hear. And so watching that movie reinforced to me the central importance of being careful with those I allow in my inner circle. But with that being said, Sister Ann, we can't be paranoid about it, because the Black Panther Party was extremely militaristic and political and very, very acute with how they recruited people, how they studied people, how they let people in. And as you can see, they still got in. And he ended up becoming Fred Hampton's chief of security in one of the most thoroughly secure movements we ever had. So I'm only saying that to say that if they want to infiltrate, they can get in. It's almost impossible for you to keep an informant out. We just have to be careful with the people we do let in, so we don't allow them to put us in a position where we can be compromised. That's the situation. And just to draw a parallel, although not political, you probably heard about what's going on with Deshaun Jaxn, star quarterback for the Houston Texans in the NFL, and he demanded out of Houston. He wanted to be
briefly
traded.
Tell folks about that.
As soon as he decided that he wanted to be traded from Houston, all of a sudden he's been accused of more than 14 different acts of sexual harassment and abuse from women at a massage parlor. Now, nobody accused him of anything until he wanted out of the Houston Texans football team. And it just so happens, Sister Ann, quote unquote, coincidentally, that the attorney who's suing on behalf of these women is a neighbor to the owner of the football team he wants to leave.
Oh, how convenient. I know we got callers on the line. I got to ask DR.UMAR just a bunch of things, but one of the things I want you to touch on is that Derrick Jaxn situation. With my thoughts, with the fact that this man has, the whole alpha male thing. And, you and I, we might have had this discussion before, but I think that because so many men are down low and they're gay and they're not really wanting to have relationships with women, I think women in our African or black society might have to start rethinking their involvement with men in terms of polygamous situation. Now, it's not for me, but I'm saying that might be something that we have to think about, and I want you to speak on that.
With the Derrick Jaxn situation, 3 points automatically come to mind Point number one, most of the women involved in quote-unquote exposing him, I believe, Sister Ann, are very disingenuous in doing so because the way they went about it. They showed no regard whatsoever for the life and feelings of his wife. You know, if you're a black woman, you are a sister to every other black woman. Why not do this with a little bit more respect, a little bit more confidentiality, a little bit more tact, a little bit more class? Y'all could have went to his wife and told her what was going on. But because everybody's so thirsty for YouTube money and everybody's so thirsty for YouTube views and everybody's so thirsty for YouTube likes, we don't care whose life we destroy. We don't care, you know, who we throw under the bus in our effort to become, quote unquote, more famous and more popular. And I have to say, Sister Ann, I thank God every day that he gave me, or she gave me, an honest means and a decent means of earning a living and helping my people that would provide me with enough public attention if I somehow would have needed that had I not been, quote unquote, Dr.UMAR, that I don't have to embarrass myself and disrespect other people in order to become popular, because I'm seeing people go out of their way to disrespect themselves and bring other people down just to become well-known. Most of your well-known YouTube personalities who are not celebrities got that way by destroying other people's lives, telling other people's businesses, spreading and promoting rumors and character assassination campaigns, and I'm a victim, obviously, of that as well. But it's such a shame that people have to do that to become, quote-unquote, known and famous. And I just thank God that I was able to do it by being a school psychologist, that I was able to do it by being a Pan-Africanist, that I was able to do it by helping people save their children. I'm one of the only people I know, Sister Ann, who can get millions and millions of views on his videos without slandering or attacking another person. And I just thank God for that.
Well, sometimes when you have women, and it might not even be the women, it might be somebody behind him that's doing it, but I do think it really put the wife in a bad light because it really made her look stupid. And it made her, especially when he got her in front of the camera with the bonnet on, good Lord, the visuals were just, terrible. And, the other women were, of course, looking fly and all that. But I think that goes to bear with, do you think he is a victim of that whole alpha male thing, or you think he's a beta male?
Well, the war against black masculinity is always looking for victims. So is he a victim of it? Partly. But I don't want to excuse the fact that he did put himself in a position to be used as another casualty in the ongoing war against black masculinity. Him cheating on his wife was totally unacceptable. And what I see in Derrick Jaxn, and I have nothing negative to say about him aside from he made a serious mistake that he needs to atone for with his wife and with his family. But what I see in Derrick Jaxn, Sister Ann, is what I see in a lot of popular black men, not necessarily celebrities, but just popular, successful, well-established black men. A lot of them are not monogamous and they don't plan to be. A lot of them are not monogamous and they don't plan to be. Now, whether you believe monogamy is natural or unnatural is irrelevant. The point that I'm making, Sister Ann, is that a lot of brothers have chosen not to be monogamous, but they have not chosen to be honest with our sisters about their polygyny. You have a right to be polygynous. You absolutely do. I'm not even sure if monogamy comes natural to alpha males. Okay, men who are always under pursuit of women, expecting them to live their whole life only entertaining one woman, I'm not sure if that's realistic or not. I don't know of an alpha male who's been monogamous through his whole through his whole life. And I'm talking white, black, Chinese, Arab, East Indian. I'm not too sure you can find a monogamous alpha male unless he was politically inclined. So with a Malcolm X, Malcolm was an alpha, but Malcolm had a very strong religious foundation and a very serious political agenda that did not allow him to even take a risk, even if he wanted to, and I don't think he did, but his position in the black struggle would not lend itself to him even taking a risk of entertaining another female's energy. So when you're political, it forces you to be more disciplined. And we do have to be more disciplined as men. No excuse to cheat on our wives. However, if you are polygynous, Be honest. Tell your woman and let her make a decision. I don't think Derrick Jaxn ever intended to be monogamous in his marriage, and he should have been honest with his wife and let her make that decision.